Hey everyone. I'm Taylor, co-founder at Metal. I'm here with my co-founders as well, Sergio, who's acting like my dad and taking photos in the back, and James. So say hi, guys. Cool. So today, just going to give a brief background on our company, who we are, and then a quick demo of the product itself, and then how to get in touch. So cool. So just what is Metal? Really, you can think of us today as two things, right? There's the platform itself, which is a fully managed service. And just to be very simple, we help developers and organizations build LLM applications. And the team is us three, and we're now starting to grow the team as well. And we're founders who work directly with organizations, with developers, to getting these applications live and in front of users. And I'm highlighting that second piece because to us, it's a pretty big gap in the market today. The technology itself, we don't find it to be self-serviceable, especially in terms of production-ready use cases. So we do offer a lot of help there as well. So starting with the platform itself, the first thing that we do is very concerned with data transformation. So that involves anything with data movement, management, infrastructure, APIs. We abstract as much of this complexity as possible. One of the core tenets that we started Metal with was that we wanted this to be accessible to a web developer who doesn't have a lot of experience in machine learning, for example. That really comes from personal experience. When we first started working in machine learning, we came from a traditional software background, and this was even a little bit further back, but working with the raw technology was very difficult. We spent a lot of cycles building and scrapping code that just really never saw the light of day. And then there are out-of-the-box operations and ways to manipulate and consume your data. So things like semantic search, both with KNN and ANN, chat, Q&A bots that have memory and state. We also have logs, observability around queries that are made against your indexes, and then also offering operations for pattern recognition. So semantic clustering and query observability. And then there's the team itself, right? So, the reason I want to highlight this again is that we take a very hands-on approach with customers and users today. We acknowledge and believe that we're still very much in the early phases. Again, this technology is not self-serviceable. We view our approach as a way to sort of be at the edge of where this technology is and where it goes, and that is with validating real production-grade use cases. And I think one of the things that we find frustrating right now is that there's a tremendous amount of activity. It's very inspiring and that's fantastic, but we're very practical as a team, and that's our background. Having worked in enterprise SaaS for 10 plus years, building products together for 5 years and more, we just want to see applications that are gettable, are solving real world problems, and sort of taking this technology out of the tinkering space, right, that we're all very much in right now, which is exactly where it should start, but not where it should end. So that is just very briefly on us, but we didn't really come here to talk about that. We'll do a brief demo. So let's see. So what we actually made this morning using Metal is very indicative of how we work with a lot of our customers. We created a Q&A chatbot that we indexed the WeWork S1 from 2019 just to test out how it would go. So let's just try this out. Can you tell me about this document? And a lot of the pieces that we're seeing here, the way that we've been working is working with customers and then productizing and backing into what can make sense for the core offering, right? So we want to package up as much of this code that is useful as possible and just help the next iteration move that much faster. So here we get some information on the prospectus. Let's ask again about operating costs. Okay, operating costs. And again, querying that S1. These embeddings, these chunks were created, stored, and indexed in Metal. And then we're just using GPT to generate the responses, which I have to scroll for here. Cool. So we'll get some information on the operating costs themselves. Lots of information. Text-rich document. Cool. One of the things that we've learned is that in order to build trust with these systems, especially in more enterprise use cases, you basically need to show your work. So we have sort of this black box, right, of chunked embeddings that are stored in Metal. And for people who are still getting up to date with the technology, need to understand where it comes from, right? So we want to make this as easy as possible. You can click View Sources here, which, awesome. That was giving me some trouble earlier today because Amazon was having a oopsie, but now we're good. So we can see the actual embeddings that were used to generate that response. We can see the distance relative to the query, as well as the file that it came from, even down to the chunk. If I click on the ID, we actually get taken into the Metal platform. This is more of the developer and admin experience. What we were just looking at is what a customer or user might see. So we get some more information on the chunk itself. We get the full text, and as well as some of that information that was stored in the rows. But if we want to see the rest of this index, this is one of the first tabs and features we made, is that you have all of the chunks here from the index, and you can start to search and see what a user might experience if they drop in a query like, who is Adam N? And that will pull back the responses. We'll show you the cosine distance in the vector space as well. We allow you to add metadata to the chunks for filtering. So a lot of these concepts, they're kind of familiar coming from the conventional software world. We just want to bring that into LLMs and what we're building here today. So the other piece of this is around observability. So if you go to logs, for instance, we expose all of the queries that are made against this index. Want to provide, this is a verification that your index is live and up running and people are using it. But you can also start to get some understanding of what people are querying. So if you have this to your website, for example, you embed a knowledge base, you could use this to aggregate what types of information users are looking for. Zooming out a little bit, you can also go to the analytics tab where we show you the amount of queries over time so you can have an understanding of engagement as well as the average distance of those queries. So that's really a proxy for relevancy, right? It's taking the distance of the first result and returning it to a given query and then averaging that out. And then the last piece here is just an example of one of the operations we do provide out of the box. It's clustering. In this case, we're taking that S1 and we're running a clustering algorithm on it to find sort of the semantic commonalities in this data. So I've already generated it here to save us some time, but you can get an idea of you can select your algorithm, your dimensionality reduction, even what type of visualization you want to go with. In this case, in the S1, we found 3 categories: phrases related to legal agreements, the second most popular being financial accounting, and the third around expansion and growth. And this is the type of data that you could also consume through Metal, which is an API-first platform, and conduct further analysis on it, for instance. But it's just something that is out of the box, and that's really a theme that we want to sort of imbue in the platform. So yeah, that was a quick demo. I think I may have one more slide. Yeah, if you want to get in touch, obviously we're here. I didn't put our Twitter handle and whatnot, but that's our email address, and also those 2 guys in the back are great to talk to. So thank you.